It is the city which always seems in the end to rise from the ashes. Kabul, a history of destruction, revolution and invasion. It began with Genghis Khan, continued in the 20th century with the British, the Soviets and more recently the Taliban. Taking advantage of the civil war against a range of tribal factions, the Islamic fundamentalists, led by Mullah Omar, seized Afghanistan and its capital Kabul in 1996. They forced women to wear the burqa and impose Sharia law. It was an extremist interpretation of Islam. The world shocked to see the destruction of the giant Buddhas of Bamyan. They offered asylum to a certain Osama bin Laden, who used the country as a base for terrorism. The fate of Kabul was to dramatically change over a 48-hour period in September 2001. On the 9th, the main opposition leader to the Taliban, Commander Massoud, the Lion of Panjshir, was assassinated just 2 days before the attacks on the United States on September the 11th. The Americans, they wanted the head of bin Laden and they issued an ultimatum to the Taliban, but it was ignored.
We're not planning on using sophisticated arms nor other materials. What's important for us is the strength of our faith. We are fighting for our religion. We are fighting for our God. And in this fight, we know that Allah will help us.
Well, then came American intervention, the deployment of an international force, the surrender of the Taliban, the escape of Osama bin Laden, and the election of Hamid Karzai. Now, the Taliban dream of revenge as foreign forces leave the country. Kabul is free, but still constantly threatened by numerous terrorist attacks. For us to discover the city, living in constant fear, we followed an MP. Our report is the portrait of a woman committed to change in her city and her country. Miyuki Droz Aramaki, Sylvain Petit and Vikram Singh have her story.
A female rapper denounces misogyny before an auditorium full of women, amongst them activists, artists and even some soldiers. Under the Taliban's rule, these women would have been punished severely.
I think this event can be a good example of how women here should participate more in public programs.
The organizer of the concert is Shinkai Karokhail, one of Afghanistan's leading feminists and a member of the national parliament.
This is the first time we've had such a program in Afghanistan. It's a way of appreciating the work and struggles of the Afghan woman. As you know, there are many strong and brave women in our country who've achieved a lot.
12 years of foreign intervention have transformed the country. This ruined palace of the former Afghan king stands as a symbol of a country ravaged by more than 30 years of war. Next year, a new parliament will be inaugurated once foreign troops withdraw from the country, and Afghanistan's people will have a chance to steer their own future. To understand this change, we follow Shinkai Karokhail through the streets of Kabul. She is an independent woman, in life as in politics. Divorced, she lives alone and refuses to join a political party. But despite this, she never travels without her personal bodyguard. Shinkai has been leading the fight for women's rights, and she's also an active campaigner against corruption. Her stance on both issues has earned her many enemies, and even threats to her life.
Hello, I'm heading out of Kabul. We can meet at a crossroad. Can you send me 2 police cars? Okay, thank you very much.
Despite the presence of 100,000 foreign troops, no one is safe from the Taliban.
Kabul suburb is really not safe, especially for women in peace. And because they can easily target us, and because government also not very much in control.
In Parliament, Shinkai represents District 12, a former refugee camp that has become a full-fledged neighborhood. Like her, these men are Pashtun, the majority ethnic group in Afghanistan. They've asked her to act as a bridge between the community and the government.
So you have electricity and running water? Well, all we have to do is find you a second wife and all will be well.
Praise God, even the streets have been repaired.
Displaced Afghans come to Kabul from across the country, and for many, living conditions are precarious. In 12 years, the city's population has increased by 500%, which has had catastrophic consequences on its ability to provide even basic services. Shinkai is thanked by a council of elders for her efforts to protect their rights.
Here's a gift for you.
Thank you. I hope you're happy.
These men and their families have fled unemployment and the ongoing conflict in the countryside to resettle here.
When we arrived, there was nothing. No well, no electricity. The streets were damaged. Since the election 4 years ago, it's been improving, little by little.
In part, Shinkai gets the respect of this extremely conservative community on account of her relatives, some of whom are famous mujahideens who fought against the Soviets. But she's also earned her standing by taking on issues like Afghanistan's poor public services.
It's normal in 2013 in Afghanistan that you need to wait for 5 years to get light?
Well, they have had no other option. I know this kind of, we have to wait. We need lots of things, you know. We need a road to be asphalt. We need clean water to drink. We need a maternity home for safe delivery. We need more girls' schools. And demands are a lot, but our resources are very, very limited.
The international community has invested hundreds of billions of euros in Afghanistan. But where has that money gone? And who has benefited? To find out, we met Shinkai in Afghanistan's interim parliament. Of the 250 members, 60 are women. Amongst the parliamentarians gathered here are former warlords. Many are accused of multiple crimes, including murder, corruption and drug trafficking. But that hasn't stopped them from occupying some of the highest offices of state. Shinkai is taking them on by taking her fight to the heart of government spending, the finance department.
We will begin the session in the name of Allah. We will talk about the Kabul Bank.
On the agenda today is the biggest case of embezzlement in the history of Afghanistan, the Kabul Bank scandal. 850 million euros, a quarter of the national GDP, systematically disappeared from this public bank. The bank had received much of that money as international aid to pay government officials. Instead, the bank managers gave the money to top politicians, disguised as loans which were never paid back.
So the brother of President Karzai and the brother of the vice president asked for loans. But what we want to know is how much.
It's true, even our minister admitted we wouldn't get our money back.
As a Muslim and the new director of the bank, all I can say is that the president called me and asked that the name of his brother be cleared of all wrongdoing.
Ultimately, despite the scale of the embezzlement, just the former directors of the bank were sentenced to 5 years in prison. The battle for transparency is far from over.
The only hope is the political will of current government. If they are really committed to save Afghanistan, they have to fight against corruption, and nobody should be above the law.
There is more corruption in Afghanistan than ever before, and it increases day by day. The ones who are supposed to implement law and order, the police, prosecutor, attorney and courts, are themselves involved in the corruption. So how can they stop and control corruption in the other departments of the government?
Afghanistan ranks as one of the most corrupt countries in the world, vying with Somalia and North Korea for top position. In the last 30 years, efforts have been made to replace tribal lawlessness with the rule of law. But the victims remain the same, always the most vulnerable members of a society. It's the women. In Afghanistan, the men set social rules, and independent women like Shinkai and her friends are a tiny minority. Sima, seen here in a burqa, has asked Shinkai to defend her case before the family court. Forcibly married at the age of 16 and a victim of domestic violence, Sima wants a divorce and custody of her children.
You told us that he raped you, sodomized you, right?
Yes.
How many times?
A dozen times. He hit me with a knife. I have marks. In fact, he wouldn't let me leave the house for a year. But one day when I was bleeding so much, he had to take me to the hospital to stop the blood.
In Afghanistan, only 1 out of every 100 victims wins in court. Most women do not even dare complain. They know that the courts nearly always support men.
Law exists, but there's no law enforcement.
Especially for women.
For women. Because we cannot bribe. We are not like financially independent to bribe the system to win the case.
Is it the pressure from the activist or the presence of our camera? Whatever the case, the judge eventually rules in favor of Sima.
From what I heard, she had many troubles with this man, so we are not planning to send her with him again.
The husband is furious with the verdict.
This is the way they are behaving with us, or they are recalling, because women never got the inheritance from the family. Women never got the right to go for education. Women never given a chance to choose her life partner.
The angry husband confronts Shinkai in front of the court.
I swear tonight, I'm going to kill myself and my children.
You try to warning everybody, you know? This is the way that the man is, like, he could not take care of his kids, but he's threatening us. That's why you guys are involving to protect my kids and my wife. Okay.
But nothing can stop Shinkai. Not insults, violence, death threats, or even terrorist attacks. During the 10 years that she has been in politics, Shinkai has seen it all. She accepts the sacrifices that come with her work, including restrictions in public spaces. 2 years ago, her best friend was killed in a terrorist attack on the most secure supermarket in the capital.
But see, the suicide attacker even entered the shopping center and killed the children, the entire family, the men and women and children. So that's why that's not very much safe to take extra risk to go for shopping in Kabul.
In recent months, a new threat has targeted the upper middle class: child abduction. Shinkai's family has had to send all their children to boarding schools outside the country. Now they come back only for holidays.
This is my son Bahir, the youngest and the tallest. This is my nephew Mram, which came from Germany, visit us. This is my second son, Wali, the most handsome man.
For security reasons, the boys have to remain at home at all times. In Kabul, video games have replaced kites. Bahir dreams of becoming an actor in Hollywood, much to the horror of his mother.
Do you think everybody should just flee the country and stay in other part of the world? Do you think this country does not belong to you?
What can I do?
Get a good education, come and work, save the country.
One man.
Yes, there are lots of one man, and then become thousand and thousand.
Under the Taliban's reign, many families were forced to seek refuge in Pakistan and neighboring countries. But since then, a whole generation of exiles has returned to take part in the reconstruction of the country.
This year or coming year will be the most critical, and I think after 2014 people will make another choice where they want to live. Because still people are thinking about the civil war which we had after the collapse of communist regime in Afghanistan. We lost thousands of people inside Kabul. So that's why everybody just afraid of that day. If this country situation was still like today, I think they might return.
But Shinkai has made her choice. She is staying here no matter what happens. And she'll continue her work as a member of parliament. For the Taliban, the men and women who resist them are the new enemies, which may explain why the assassinations of senior officials have increased significantly. Meanwhile, in Kabul, those who have chosen to stay on are busy strengthening the barricades around their houses.
The courage shown by one woman and her family expressing hope for the future of Kabul. Well, that's all from this week's Revisited. More editions, of course, coming up. So stay tuned to us here at France 24.